Of course, our friend always joining us on a Thursday. Beautiful day outside, Bob. I know Muss is going to be speaking to Arkansas media in about 30 minutes. So you got some busy stuff coming up. How's your day going?
It's going fine. I'm awake and took a shower and everything.
That's a good day. That's a great start to the day right there.
There are a lot of people right now that are listening that are saying, I probably still need to do that part of my day too. So sometimes we have to remind ourselves. Good performance by Arkansas basketball yesterday. You touched on Connor Vanover's dominance defensively for Arkansas, and really a lot of it didn't even show up in the box score. And one of the things that stands out about Connor is, he can shoot the three. Sure, he'll rebound. Sure, he'll block shots. But my gosh, with that wingspan, he is going to alter so many shots as this season goes on. And that's what it seemed like he did a lot yesterday, too.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Musselman talked about Connor being the goalie back there. Arkansas is pressing more this year, at least more than I can remember, and that, is a result of having more depth and being able to play more guys and not wear out the 5 or 6. They were playing primarily last year, but there was a play last night. I can't remember the player, but basically Southern had beaten the press, and they had a 2-on-1, and Connor's there in the lane. And the one of the Southern players, throws up a lob pass for a dunk, and Connor just reaches up and intercepts it. He looks like that guy, I can't remember which character, is the Fantastic Four that has the arms that stretch. You know that guy I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure these players are not used to playing against the guy 7'3", and Connor's wingspan. I guess that's a good question for him. It must be 7'5", 7'6". He just went up there and got it, And I'm not sure I've seen a guy do that before. So, who knows how many shots, he's altering because they're looking over their shoulders, literally and figuratively. Wait, where's that guy? Where's that guy? And so now it's going to be harder to do that against SEC teams or against Oklahoma State, who they play later. But, he's really a force defensively. He can impact the game without scoring, although obviously they like it when he scores.
Well, and you touch on that it's going to be more difficult for him to dominate like that against SEC teams in Oklahoma State. And, it doesn't look like Arkansas's played against a very good team. And I think Lipscomb might end up being good once they get to full strength, but they were quite less than full strength when they faced the Razorbacks. And Vanover's not the only piece of this team that has some size. I mean, you got Justin Smith in there. And a couple of others that also, plus the guard position is a little bit bigger this year for Arkansas than I think in previous years. And I still wonder, though, is there enough depth of size and strength and overall, manpower to be able to stand up with some of the other bigger teams in the SEC?
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. You're talking about on the wing, Moses Moody's 6'6", and he's shown a good ability to rebound. He's had games where he had 9 and 8, I think. And I tell you, Devo Davis got in there, 6'3" guy. He got 7 boards last night. So he's a guy. And Eric said he's not a good, loose ball getter. He's a great loose ball getter. I guess I got to add that to the stats. I'm sure they have managers or somebody keeping track of who gets loose balls and how many shots Connor alters. But and then Vance Jackson, who's 6'9", he's probably more comfortable on the perimeter. They need to get him going better. He had 15 points, I think 15 minutes in the first game, and he's really struggled since then. And it would help if they got him going because he's another guy they added with some size. Jalen Williams is 6'10". He's had his moments. Didn't do a whole lot last night, but they definitely have had better size, but it's not like they aren't going to probably play some bigger, stronger teams. And obviously Connor needs to add some weight and strength, and he knows that. He'd added some weight, and then he got sick and lost some. But he's just a redshirt sophomore, so he's got time to get stronger and bigger. And with his skill set, he's just a really unique player with his perimeter skills.
Bob Holt joining us here on Halftime. Bob, it's been I think it's the 4th or 5th game in a row where it's been the exact same starting 5 here for this Razorback team: Justin Smith, Jalen Tate, Vanover, Sills, and Moody. Do you think that this is going to be the starting 5 for probably the majority of the season, or do you think Muss will still probably try to tweak and see what else he can do with the starting lineup?
Well, Eric seems to me to be a creature of habit. If he feels like Lineup's working. I think he's going to mess with it. I think that lineup you named was their lineup for the last 4 games. In the second game, Vance Jackson had been a little ill, I guess, and missed the practice, so he put in Connor, and he hadn't given any reason to take him out. Now there may be teams that maybe are smaller and quicker, and he wants to go with a smaller lineup. But I think unless there's injuries or something, that lineup's going to stay pretty much the same. But one nice thing is, last year if a guy was struggling, or maybe if a guy wasn't quite 100%, Eric didn't have a whole lot of choice. That guy needed to play if he was in the top 6 or 7. This year he's got some added depth, some versatility. If he's maybe trying to send a message to a guy that, hey, you need to play better, you need to practice better, he might make a change. Those were things Nolan Richardson and Mike Anderson used to do quite frequently. And so that, Eric's got more options now, I guess is what I'm getting at.
One of the interesting things when you look at the stat line and from the stat package that they send us media guys after the game, and you've heard Musselman talk about this during press conferences and really starting to emphasize it in practice, and that's getting the most passes in a game as they can. And you heard this on the broadcast last night as well. As a team last night, they set a mark of 237 passes when they took on Lipscomb, and they broke the record last night, 252 passes in a ball game. And I'm sure you've heard this too, but how important is it, or why is Musselman preaching so much to pass the ball so much to try to get? Is it just to try to get the best shot that they can?
Yeah, and I don't think it's one of those deals like he's Norman Dale and they have to make 4 passes before they take a shot. But ball movement. You want some quick, crisp ball movement. And I know coaches a lot of times talk about passing up a good shot for a great shot. And now you don't want especially with a shot clock, you don't want your guys to overpass. Sometimes you see guys and you say, why did he pass it? Why did he take that shot? But you don't want to take them too quick. I think it's all about, making the defense work, move around, and maybe making that extra pass. Like, in hockey, I think this is right. Phil probably knows because he's from Pittsburgh. I'm not much of a hockey guy, but if you make a pass to a guy and then that guy passes to a guy who gets a goal, then the guy who made the first pass gets an assist. But they don't do that in basketball. And sometimes I watch an NBA game and a guy will make a pass to a guy just over half court. The guy hits a shot and he gets an assist. And I'm like, I don't know if that really should be an assist. But, I think you want to get good ball movement and you want to try to get the best possible shot. But you don't want to overpass. Eric talks a lot about even if it's a bad shot, he wants to get a shot on goal because, before you don't want to have a turnover. You want to at least get a shot up. And if you miss, you might have a shot for a tip-in or a stick-back or something to kick back out for a 3, especially when you got Connor Vanover.
When you look at this non-conference schedule, we've talked a lot about it. I know me and Phil and several of the listeners too kind of wanted maybe have gotten a little bit of a higher name opponent than Southern just to see kind of gauge where this team is. But I know a win's a win, and for a team that has this team has experience with playing cohesive together. They need game experience. They need games like this where they can pretty much dominate and get their confidence built up. But as a fan, how much can you take away from a 5-0 start against teams that you should be beating the way that they have been beating them heading up into SEC play?
Well, ideally, it'd be nice if they played some other Power 5 teams. Of course, they were scheduled to play Oklahoma I believe it would have been this Saturday in Tulsa. They were supposed to go to Vegas. I think they would have played UCF, University of San Francisco, which had a big win over Virginia. They might have played Louisville. They're supposed to play Tulsa, which is, a top probably 75 team on the road. That game got canceled. So it's not like they didn't try to schedule some good teams. It just, the pandemic changed everything. And some of these teams are still having their bubble events, but, the Vegas tournament, that got canceled pretty much. And, Arkansas, as Eric mentioned this the other day, everybody wants you to play this team or that team, and it's got to work out to where that team has an opening. And, oh, by the way, if you want to play a Power 5 team, maybe they want you to come to their place rather than them come to your place. You got to have, testing protocols set up. It's a lot. There's a lot of moving parts to this. So I would just say be glad they got somebody to play.
Absolutely.
So they have to wait a week. And also you're trying to find teams that don't have to get on planes, that can get on a bus. I know I think Southern on Monday, they're in Baton Rouge, where LSU's located, and LSU obviously has resources like all these SEC teams do. So Southern went over to LSU and got tested, and they were able to ride a bus. So those were important things to Arkansas, and probably to Southern too. To try to keep everybody safe, because Southern's probably not got a charter plane; they would have had to fly commercial. And then there's also the aspect. I mean, money's tight everywhere. Guarantees aren't as high, so will you take this guarantee? No, we won't. Or maybe teams try to bid them up, or and maybe you say, well, we can't give you a big enough guarantee for you to fly, so we need you to bus. I mean, there's just a lot of moving parts to this, and for them to add a game in basically less than 48 hours, I give everybody credit, Arkansas and Southern.
Got a couple more things here for you, Bob. I just want to switch over to football because you were on the teleconference yesterday, and things just keep getting worse and worse over at LSU. They're going to now be the first team since the early 70s to defend a national title by not even making it to a bowl game. Of course, they imposed this bowl ban right now. It just came out yesterday. They've reduced scholarships. They lost their tight end. Gilbert opted out. He's probably going to leave. And what I want to ask you is, we all love Coach O's voice and his countenance, but we love that voice and that countenance and his message and the way he delivered it while they were crushing everybody, going 15-0. And it's such a different thing now. You're on those teleconferences every week. You were last year. Do you sense any difference in Orgeron's voice, in the way he is speaking, in the way that he might feel about that LSU program that you can root out?
Not really over the phone. I mean, Ed has maintained an optimistic outlook. I don't think he would have. I don't think anybody could have ever imagined things would get this bad for him. I mean, they lost a lot of players. They lost some really good assistant coaches. But they were ranked sixth, I think, to open the season. Now that's a preseason poll, and this is a crazy year. And of course, they lost Jamar Chase before the season even started. An All-American receiver, and then they lost Gilbert. They lost Terrace Marshall, who was a really good receiver. I tell you what, Arkansas would be a whole lot different if you're playing LSU like this Saturday or next Saturday than when they played them. Arkansas was down a lot of guys, and LSU since then lost two big weapons. Of course, they lost their quarterback. That didn't help them. Miles Brennan hasn't played since the Missouri game. But, no, I mean, Ed has maintained, that they're going to get back and they're going to be a championship program, and he always ends everything with Go Tigers, and I'm not going to try to imitate Ed, but I'm sure.
Oh, please do it.
Inwardly.
I would love to hear your imitation of Ed Orgeron, but I'm not going to ask you to do it right here. I do want to ask you one Hanukkah-related question, because today is the first day of Hanukkah. We're going to be celebrating that in about 17 minutes on this very show. Bob Holt, have you ever had a potato latke, and did you like it?
I don't think I have.
All right, well, I'm going to make some for you someday. Potato pancakes, but made in Grandma's recipe, and I think, if I know you, I have a feeling you'll like that. So,
yeah, I've had matzo ball soup before.
That's much different, but it is, that's a different holiday. That would be Passover. But
yeah.
Bob, I appreciate you, man, and I'll make latkes for you. Okay, I'll freeze them, I'll drop them off. Won't have to come inside. Okay.
Okay, that sounds nice.
All right, I always appreciate your time. That's the one and only Bob Holt, who's going to enjoy those latkes.